Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin wassalatu wassalamu ala asyrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi washabbihi ajma'in. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and very good afternoon to all. Welcome to webinar session of Higher Education Virtual Expo 2022. So with me today is Miss Mayra from Education USA Advisor, and she will be presenting a topic on how to find scholarship or find funding to study in the United States. So there will be a 10-minute session for Q&A at the end of the session. So you all can type your question at the chat area, and we will try our best to answer all of them at the end of the session. Ms. Mayra, you may start.
Hey, thank you very much for the Ministry of Education, Higher Education, for giving me this opportunity to present about studying in the US, specifically in finding scholarship or funding in the United States of America. Welcome to all the 14 participants in this session. You may be students that have completed your O-levels, your A-levels, or maybe a working professional looking into doing your master's or your doctorate degree in the US, or maybe someone who might just want to gain some work experience in the US or do some short-term trainings in the US. These include education officers as well, so listen in if you are interested to gain some additional knowledge and experience in the US. So without much ado, as introduced, I'm the Education USA Advisor at the US Embassy. My name is Mayra Rables, and my job at the Embassy is to assist students who wish to pursue higher education in the US. So I'm not an education agent, so my services are free and provided to anyone who wishes to learn more about US higher education. So without much ado, I will just share my screen and start right off, as we only have 30 minutes exactly for this presentation. Is the screen sharing properly, and can everybody hear me? Okay, so I guess it's all right. I don't hear any reactions as of, okay, yes, from everyone. All right, so this afternoon's topic is on funding your study in the US. However, I will talk roughly for about 5 to 10 minutes briefly about US higher education in general. And I'll treat you first to a video on Education USA, the US Department of State's advising arm to provide free information about US higher education opportunities.
A United States education is your gateway
to a great American campus experience,
to study in a country of innovators and entrepreneurs,
to use your curiosity wisely,
to take on challenges,
to think differently,
to have endless opportunities,
to hear new perspectives,
to navigate cultural differences,
to pursue your passions,
to gain real-world experiences,
to learn skills for a changing job market,
to put theory into practice,
to become the kind of professional you want to be,
to thrive in your career,
to give back to your community and to the world,
to be the kind of person that you wouldn't have dreamed to be otherwise.
Come study.
Come study.
Come study.
Come study in the United States.
So everybody is welcome in the United States of America. We host over 1 million international students in the US, which makes us the #1 destination for international students in the world. So why do students want to study in the US? I will briefly feature some of our Bruneians who are currently studying in the US and some that have graduated and the reasons why they've chosen to study in the US. First, we have here Hafi, who graduated at top of his class, summa cum laude, and is now a pilot. He's an aviation engineer and a commercial pilot. He chose the US because of the value that he will receive from studying there. He's amongst, I think, one of the two who've completed his studies at Embry-Riddle in Florida, which is one of the top aeronautical universities in the world. So we're very proud of WAFI. Next, of course, we have our student Wan Shen, who is studying in the top computer science university in the world, currently doing his undergraduate study. He'll be graduating soon and currently pursuing his master's and PhD. Wan Shen is one of the smartest students I've ever advised, and we're very proud of him. And one of his dreams is, just like in the video, to come back to Brunei and serve the community. He's studying in the US because of the quality of education that is offered there. Next in line, this young man is probably quite famous now in Brunei. He's currently working at the Melting Pot. Aziz Zaidi is amongst the first, if not the one and only Bruneian who qualified to study at the #1 culinary institute in the world, the Culinary Institute of America. He has completed his degree and currently working here and managing the Melting Pot. Next in line, of course, is we have a student who studied at a historically Black university in the US. This young man, Mo in short, is now doing his internship in the US. As an international student in the US, you're allowed to pursue at least 27 months of STEM or science, technology, engineering, mathematics, optional practical training as an international student. And Mo has taken this opportunity to gain work experience in the US, as this offers a global and diverse environment. That's Mo for you. And of course, last but not the least, we have Tiara Anwar, who completed her studies on sustainable development and geography with some studies on Islamic law on the side at the University of Florida, also graduated top of her class. So the students we featured just now are all very well performing Bruneians who are products of US universities. So you might be one of these students in the future, so do listen in. All right, so first off, I just wanted to show you, many of you may be familiar with Silicon Valley, a place in San Francisco, Los Angeles, where a lot of tech industries or startups are. So why am I showing you this map? I'm showing you this map to show you how important industry is when choosing where to study in the US. Because if you heard earlier on, our students are not there just to study, but to gain work experience as well. So if you quickly look at the map, you can see here, Oracle is here, Stanford University is here, HP is here, and other industries. UC Berkeley, University of California, Berkeley is on this side. So you can see that industries and universities are quite interconnected when it comes to gaining that knowledge and experience when pursuing for a US higher education. So I'll quickly show you the rest of the map. In Silicon Valley is also home to eBay, Google, Amazon, Microsoft, and many other industries. So this is just one part of the US. And so as not to be biased, I'll show you a New York state industry map as well, where New York obviously is famous for the finance, economics, business industries, as well as fashion and design, and of course, entertainment. So this just goes to show that students in the US, especially international students, don't just learn in the classroom, but they gain work experience beyond the classroom in these global industries. Second part of the map. And as an Education USA advisor, I'm here to provide you free advising information for #1, understanding what options are available for you, choosing from the 4,500 universities and colleges in the US, completing your application, financing your study, which is what we'll talk about today, applying for your visa, and of course, getting you ready to make sure that you will have a happy and successful study experience in the US. Okay, so let me introduce you to the different kinds of colleges and universities and institutions in the US. This is mainly to help you in choosing the colleges or universities in the future, where you have some background information, how much these actually charge in terms of tuition or fees. So first off, we have a community college where students from year 11 who completed their O levels, as well as those who have done their IBs and A levels, are able to apply to and have a high rate of acceptance. Community colleges are amongst the most affordable higher education institutions in the US. It is similar to what we have here as a diploma program. However, in the US, it is not just an associate's degree that you complete at community college, but you have a choice to do transfer after completing 2 years, which is similar to a 2+2 program. So 2 years at a community college plus 2 years at a partner 4 university equals 4 years, and you have a bachelor's degree at the end of 4 years in the US. Okay, so we have next our state or public universities, which is similar to UTB, UNISA, and UBD, that is state funded. So it actually costs less than private universities, which I'll talk about after this slide. Okay, the most expensive universities that are private, you don't see the word state university in the names of these universities, but these universities are quite high in tuition fees, but are also generous in awarding scholarships or funding to international students. There you may come across universities that say they are a liberal arts college. So the difference between the community college, some private and some public universities is that liberal arts colleges concentrate on students who want to complete only a 4-year undergraduate degree or bachelor's degree, which means the students who study there will not be able to pursue their master's and PhD or doctorate degrees on campus, but would need to transfer to another university. Liberal arts colleges are very popular in the US. Hillary Clinton was a product of a liberal arts college. It is smaller, quite exclusive, and is a private college or university that offers quality education. You may have heard Institute of Technologies as a rising star of colleges and universities in the world. And of course, #1 in the world now is Massachusetts Institute of Technology that offers 4 years bachelor's, master's, and doctorate programs. MIT, I will discuss later on, is one of the few schools that where a student does get accepted, is not able to pay his or her fees, will be eligible to apply for a full scholarship. Suspense. So do keep engaged in this discussion this afternoon. All right, so let's just dive right in and understand some definitions or terminologies that you will come across when looking for scholarships or grants in the US. So in Brunei here, when we talk about scholarship, it's usually fully funded. In the US, it may not necessarily be fully funded. Some universities will give you a 20% discount, 30% discount, 50% discount. And these are offered by US universities and colleges. So not necessarily 100%, but you can also combine the scholarships to get a better deal or a bigger scholarship in a bigger picture. All right, you also find that financial aid is available. So this is money where it is lent to you through a loan program that will allow or help you pay for college or university in the US. You can, of course, directly inquire with the US university or college for these opportunities of financial aid, a grant or a scholarship that you don't have to pay back. These are offered by colleges and universities directly at all colleges and universities. Okay, so let's just look at the facts now. It will cost between 20 to 70K US dollars per year for an international student to study in the US. 80% of international students who are studying in the US are self-funded. So funding is coming from family. Over 1,000 US universities and colleges provide financial aid above $10,000 to international students. 557 are awarded aid above 20K, 290 about 30K, and 224 can meet a student's full financial need, which means 224 can actually give out full scholarship to students. So if it's a scholarship, it's non-binding. All right. Okay, so your responsibility now, if you are looking to study in the US and looking at funding opportunities for you, you'll have to find out with your family how much they're able to budget for your education in the US. Look into the university, what policies they have or for international students or financing for international students, and look at aid or funding given to international students. You might be confused. You'll see a website where we have a lot of scholarships and financial aid, but these may only be applicable to American students. You have to specifically look for financial aid or scholarships for international students. So you have to write down now where your finances are, how much your parents or you as a professional would be willing to invest on your education in the US. Okay, so what are the expenses that we're looking at? So the direct charges include, of course, common sense, tuition and fees, room and board, your health insurance. The indirect expenses would include travel, books, transition cost, and now we have to consider COVID testing as well and quarantine if required, but in the US it's not required. And the cost of you having a laptop, lab fees as well, or music lessons if you need to take it when you're in the US. Okay, so earlier on, we talked about the different colleges, universities, and liberal arts colleges and higher education institutions in the US. And here I just want to show you and highlight the cost differences in the different types of universities and colleges. So definitely when you're looking at a community college, you see a star here, the cost of attendance is much lower than you would go to a 4-year private university, which is 79K. These are all in US dollars. So this is 27K. This can go lower. In fact, there are community colleges that have a total cost of attendance of only 20,000 US dollars a year. All right, so this is just an average. Private universities, you can see, can cost as much as 80K, 79,900. This is Orange Coast College, and this is Princeton University. And of course, we have the state universities, which cost roughly a little higher than community colleges. So Bowling Green, this is coming from Bowling Green State University, is one of the most affordable state universities in the US. But in general, on average, state universities can range from 28 to 35K, 35,000 US dollars a year. So I do advise a lot of students that if funding is really an issue and there's nothing that can really stop you from studying in the US, there's always a community college option and there are scholarships available for that as well. And I'll show you how to navigate and find where the scholarships are. Okay, so how do universities determine what kind of financial package they will give you? Of course, they want to make sure that you are a student that's worthy to receive a financial package. They would want to make sure that your family is able to contribute some amount of money. For those who are not able to contribute, that needs to be justified. Funding will depend on a university or school's budget and policy. And sometimes there are departmental scholarships or funding available as well. So for example, if you are enrolled at Bowling Green State University under the College of Arts and Sciences, the university itself may have a scholarship in general, which will reduce your tuition fee by 30%. And the College of Arts and Sciences may have its own scholarship as well, which will reduce your tuition to 50%. So 50 plus 30, you have 80% tuition reduction already. which means you only have to pay 20% of your total cost of attendance at Bowling Green State University. That is just an example. And we've had students who've departed from Brunei, Bruneians who've had 2-3 scholarships. And at the end of the day, they were able to receive 100% funding for their education in the US for 4 years. Nothing is impossible. Okay, so let me just show you how universities calculate this. So if the cost of attendance, for example, at a private school is around 64K, you have your funds, which you can put in around 6.5. This is how much you need. This is what you get from scholarship. You may work on campus in the US as an international student for 20 hours a week. And this is the amount that you may need to come up with for a year. 15,000. That could be less, that could be more. It really depends. So that's for private. Usually they give out more scholarships. You can see a comparison here versus the public university, which gives out less. Here, 40K versus 10K. All right. So what do you need to prepare if you're applying for scholarship to study in the US? You need to have one good academic standing for those that have received their O-levels, A-levels, and IB results. There are universities in the US that are specifically offering students with IB scholarships, students that have completed their IBs and those that have completed with A stars for the A-levels. The same goes with O-levels, especially those who are applying to community colleges. You will also have the opportunity to apply for scholarships if you have really good grades. Okay, number 2, extracurricular activities. What do you do after school? What do you do during ECA time? Are you a club member? Are you active in the community? What have you done during the pandemic? Have you volunteered? That's number 2 and 3, which actually ties in together. So that the approach really is very holistic for US universities. Okay, sorry, I should go back there. Okay, hold on. Okay, so there are also different types of funding available. We're not just talking about the US funding, but funding from Brunei as well. We have the MOE scholarship, of course, that's why you're here today. We have the government loan, MOE loan. We have the Brunei Shell Petroleum. We also have the Royal Brunei Airlines scheme. And of course, we also have the MINDEF scholarship, where we recently sent one student to study at Stony Brook University under the MINDEF scholarship, and hoping that we will have another one soon that will be heading to the US. Okay, for those of you who have a pen and paper, these are the few numbers of universities in the US out of the 4,500, can take a screenshot as well, that offer full need, no loan. So if you get in short, if you get in and you are not able to fund your education there, they will fund everything for you. All right. So Amherst and Massachusetts and others are, you might find, these are need-blind universities or colleges in the US. A few, it's very hard to get in. Most of the Bruneians that are studying in these top universities are under the Ministry of Education scholarship. So far, none have yet applied for a US college or university scholarship for these universities, but you may be the first, who knows? Okay, so let's talk about exams. Some universities, especially those that are offering scholarship or financial aid, will want you to take 1 or 2 of these exams. If you're a product of a Brunei high school, secondary school, or pre-university, you definitely would need to take an English test, such as the IELTS or the TOEFL or the Duolingo. For those looking for more financial aid or scholarship, you may have to take the SAT or ACT. However, let me share some good news with you. So because of the pandemic, many universities in the US no longer require you to show an SAT, ACT, IELTS, TOEFL, or Duolingo score to be eligible to apply for scholarship or funding. So do take this opportunity. I think the University of California schools do not require that anymore. So if you are looking into applying this year, submit your application. Applications open in October, November, December, and take advantage of it. Okay, so now you know the Brunei funding side. Okay, so if you're looking at the US side of funding, these are all the websites that you can visit to look for funding or scholarships for international students at US universities or colleges. And let me show you one example. So this website is called the You Are Welcome Here website, and there is a campaign where international students will cover a minimum of 50% tuition to selected international undergraduates furthering the You Are Welcome Here scholarship. So the You Are Welcome Here scholarship has over 70 member US universities and colleges. And what you need to do is just apply at these universities and colleges and apply for the You Are Welcome Here scholarship. On top of your 50% tuition, if you get the You Are Welcome Here scholarship and also apply separately for a US college or university departmental scholarship, you may have your full tuition paid for in the future. So this really is something that you may want to, consider and look at as well. Okay, next, for the PhD students or those looking into the master's program in the US, fortunately, scholarship and funding is more accessible because competition is less. Obviously, for the master's and doctorate programs, there are fewer international students applying to the US for these level of study. As you can see, this is an example of Duke Graduate School, which says that a competitive package will be provided for students in the graduate school, payment for tuition and fee support for their first 5 years. However, on their 5th year, students are responsible for their fees and mostly obtain these through external or departmental funding to cover the cost. So a lot of our graduate students in the US, as one of the ways to sort of get a work scholarship, is that they are research assistants, they do teaching assistantships, and they do various graduate assistantships to cover further tuition fees. This is especially for those that are not qualified anymore to apply for the MOE scholarship due to the age limit. In the US, there is no age limit, so you can apply to do your master's or PhD in the US as well. Okay, so let me just go back very quickly to the resources. When you are looking for scholarships on these websites, there may be some scholarships that look into diversity funding. Just check the time, which means if you're a Bruneian, you may qualify, as we have, not that many students studying in the US. We have around 37, if I'm not mistaken, which decreased in view of the pandemic. But if you do have that opportunity to look for a diversity scholarship, just like the You Are Welcome Here scholarship, do apply for it, please. And my time is almost up. For more information, do send me an email at mrobles@educationusa.org. Visit the official website for Education USA, educationusa.state.gov, or send me a WhatsApp on 721-8301. I will also be at the exhibit until Friday, the last day. So if you want to chat with me or set an appointment with me for a video conference, do let me know. Thank you so much for your time, and I'm now ready to answer questions from our participants, and I'll just stop sharing now. Okay, so I hope I'm on time with my presentation. It's exactly 2:35. Okay. Any questions from our students?
There's one
Who is
question. Who is
okay?
eligible to apply for the scholarship?
Okay, so all international students are eligible to apply for scholarships. So anybody can apply for it, especially the You Are Welcome Here scholarship. So when you're navigating scholarships on the US University College or website, do let me know, reach out to me. I can help you find more scholarships because some scholarships for international students are harder to find on the website. Do you have any maximum age? There is no age limit. Doesn't matter how young or old you are, as long as you're eligible, which means, you have good grades. You've submitted an essay or a video on why you deserve to have that scholarship. You have a great personal statement. You have a good recommendation from your teacher. You have perhaps really outstanding academic records. You have done community service and volunteer work. You are eligible to apply for the scholarship, regardless of race, color, religion, and nationality. Yes, definitely higher national diploma graduates are eligible for the scholarship. There is one more step though that HND graduates need to do is you need to do a credential evaluation of your subjects that you've taken up, because 4-year study in the US means that if you already have an HND, you don't have to start from year 1. You may just have to do 2 more additional years to complete your bachelor's degree. Okay, will we be bonded? No, there's no bond. There's no bond with the US Embassy. If you're applying directly for a scholarship at a US university or college, this is a scholarship, so there is no bond for you. If you are applying for the master's Fulbright program, there's no bond either. But after studying in the US for a year or 2 for your master's program, you must return to Brunei. Okay, when will offers from universities be out? Because MO requires me to send. Okay, so if you have already submitted your application, Badri, last year, February, March, April, May. So for universities that have an earlier application deadline, they should have their responses by February, March for the normal cycle, and April and May for those who may be waitlisted. So there's a chance if you don't get in during the first round, there is still a wait list round for you. So watch out February, March, April, and May as the latest response. May I know what will be the content of the essay? So there are different application platforms that you can use. You can directly apply to US universities on their website. 1, you may use the common application. 2, and you can use other platforms as well. So the essay can range from, why you have chosen to study at this university and why this course, to what has been the most challenging event in your life and how you're able to overcome it. 3, one of the common questions would be, what community service have you done and how has this molded you into the person that you are now? There are various essay prompts. And of course, if you're applying for a scholarship, that essay would have to justify your need, why you need the scholarship, all right? Yes, of course, you can still apply for a scholarship, Ahmad. Highest qualification is national diploma, yes. And if you can see, students even who complete their O-levels can apply for scholarships. And if you need the list, if you don't want to go to a community college, or community college is not an option for you, I have a list of public universities in the US. There are around 8 to 12 that do accept students that have completed their O-levels. So if they're accepting students that completed their O-levels, they will definitely accept students that have completed their national diploma. Okay. Will universities give offers even if I have not given a source of funding. Okay, so the US follows a decentralized form of education system. Some universities, along with your letter of offer, will already tell you that you have automatically, for example, Bowling Green, I'm just going to say that. If you score a 6.5 in your IELTS, they will give you an automatic scholarship, or let's say a 20 or 30% reduction in your tuition fees, along with your letter of offer. That is to entice you to accept the letter of offer. All right. There's some universities that will only tell you that, dear Badri, congratulations, you've made it to Princeton University, for example. You are now eligible to apply for funding or scholarship. Please complete this form. Right. So some universities will only allow you to apply once you're admitted, which also really makes sense. Other universities will tell you will only be eligible to apply for scholarship after your first semester, right? Depending on what your grades will be after the first semester. Okay. Yes, I think I've answered that. Current qualification is national diploma. Yes, there are 4,500 colleges and universities in the US. I guarantee you can still apply for the scholarship. But what I cannot guarantee is that you'll get the scholarship or not, because that will depend on the university, right? And depend on your grades, on your personal statement, how well you present yourself, and during the interviews too. Some universities will interview, especially the Ivy Leagues, they will definitely interview you. Okay.
All right. I think it seems like all the question has been answered. So thank you, Ms. Mayra, for the tips and for the input. And then thank you all the participants for joining us this afternoon. So the next session will start at 3 from UTV. So once again, thank you for joining our session. Thank you, Ms. Mayra. With that, I end with Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, everybody, and have a great afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you.